Peace. I just wanted to take a moment and build briefly about a recent conversation I had with a woman. And willfully, this insight will be something you can share not only with other people that you know, family members or friends that may be going through the same thing, or things that you could apply to your life if you find yourself in a similar scenario. She is dealing with this dude that hustle. They live together and they have a child, right? And he was telling her that because he ain't keeping his stash at the building, she never seen him hit no licks before. He keeps himself and his work out of the way. That if anything ever came down, she can claim plausible deniability. And if you've never heard the phrase plausible deniability, then I encourage you to look it up. Plausible deniability is saying that you have the ability to state that you have no knowledge or you're not responsible for any kind of acts that somebody else commits because you just weren't exposed to it. And there's no evidence to actually prove that you knew that this person was getting down like that and that you were somehow responsible for it. And I've seen those kind of scenarios happen in various different instances. But the thing about plausible deniability is it's only applicable potentially in a court of law. And that's what I was explaining to her. Like, for him to be on some shit like, yo, I ain't exposing you to this because I ain't trying to bring this in my house. And that's why we live out here and not in the hood. And, I'm trying to protect you and stuff. And she was eating that shit up. And I was telling her, like, that's not no position of protection. That ain't protecting you. Matter of fact, that's putting you in more of a vulnerable situation because when it comes to plausible deniability, that shit don't apply to the streets. These cats that he running with or cats that he may have bad blood with, they don't know what you know or what you don't know. And they're not going to sit here and invest a whole bunch of time to interrogate you to find out what you do or don't know. If he out here beating people, you think they going to sit here and have this long drawn out conversation with you to see if you knew that he beat them? No, they're not going to do shit like that. And that's what I was explaining to her. We have a lesson in our 1 to 14s, which is our equality degree, the irony of that. And it asks the question, why does the devil teach and keep our people illiterate? Now apply this to the same scenario. Why does this dude teach and keep you illiterate? And the answer says so he can use you for a tool and also as a slave. He keeps you blind to yourself so he can master you. Illiterate means ignorant. So a person that is sitting here keeping you in the dark about stuff, they're not doing that to protect you or it's because they have some sense of righteousness. They're doing it because they're using you as a tool and also as a slave. They're keeping you blind to yourself and what they're doing so they can master you. And that position of ignorance is not a position of empowerment or protection. That is a position of vulnerability because you're out here and people don't know what you know or what you don't know. It's been many instances I've seen people get caught up in a fad case because they living with a dude and he's selling them that bullshit about plausible deniability, but there was no evidence to support that you did not willingly or knowingly participate or have some level of responsibility for this dude hustling, especially when you got a child in the house. You know what I'm saying? And we have to get out of this mindset of thinking that because people are using this veil of secrecy, they're doing it to protect us because they didn't want to hurt us and shit. Nah, you hurting me more. If you got me out here like this and you may be doing dudes dirty and shit or doing other different kind of stuff that I don't know about, but they know about, and they don't know how much I know. That's not a position of power or protection. That is a position of vulnerability because plausible deniability does not work in the streets where you have people who are going to be the judge and the jury. You know what I'm saying? So I will this was inspiring, empowering, and educating and gave those of you a little bit of insight into that kind of scenario that some of you may find yourself in, or you may see family members and friends in that kind of situation as well. let them know that plausible deniability only potentially works in a court of law if it even gets to that point. But other than that, you was out there and left out there to dry. And you have no protection, and that is not a position of empowerment, walking around ignorant to what somebody may be doing in your own household or doing on your job or any other thing that they may be doing that they're deliberately keeping you in the dark from. Peace.